morning. Good morning, good morning. No, not you. Not good morning to you. Sleepy to you. You were asleep. What happened? What happened, honey? Sleep is good. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Oh, man. I was like, I'm gonna get on a few minutes early because she's already asleep. And then, okay, she's still asleep. It's fine. She woke up for like 2 seconds. We're not gonna even consider it. It's not a real wake up if it's only that short, right? Right? Believe with me that we will stay asleep. Believe with me. Good morning, Ray. Ray, I need your confirmation that it doesn't count as a wake up if it was that short. Good morning. See, there we go. That was good. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Ray. Can I tell you guys something really sad? So our Nespresso order was supposed to be delivered yesterday, and for reasons unbeknownst to me, I got an email from Nespresso saying, sorry we missed you. What do you mean, sorry we missed you? I didn't go anywhere yesterday. I was home all day. Oh, that's not true. We went to the baby's doctor appointment, but it wasn't at that time. Either way, we live in a building that like has package lockers and stuff, and our Nespresso has been left for us for 2 years with no problem. All of a sudden yesterday they need me to be home. Very odd. I don't like it because now we don't have our Nespresso order, and Mommy is big sad because Mommy cannot run out of Nespresso. She will not survive it. I will not survive without the coffee. How will I live? How will I live without it? I want to know. No, really, like how? I didn't get the creme brulee joke. Oh man, see? Secret husband failing a little. That's totally not a weird question. It felt like a weird question in the moment, but now I guess not. But he does make that joke because I have like pumped milk in the fridge for when I go live. And he's always like, well, if we run out of milk, I can just use that. I'm like, sir, actually learned that body filter. I know, I learned that too, Heather. Isn't that crazy? Yes, I heard that. They'll pay like $5 an ounce for it. Isn't that nuts? That, like, if anyone's an oversupplier, make that bank, girl. Because, like, I'm a just enougher, so I don't have that opportunity. But, like, $5 an ounce? $5 an ounce. That's more than slime. Slime's like $5 for 2 ounces. Yeah, or 3. I know. I think it is crazy. Ray got filtered. Like, oops. Hey, Ray. So yeah, if you're an oversupplier by any means, sell your breast milk to those bodybuilders and make that bag. Yeah. Slightly crunchy, Mom. I definitely used it in my older kids' movie. No, you should. Yeah. No, but that's, I mean, that sounds good for the kids, right? New way to make money. Can't work for me. I'm just an upper, Brittany. I don't make enough to do that. No, unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. I wish. That would be great. Because I have to pump anyway. So, but I am not an oversupplier. Except for sand slime, it's heavier, so we're like, that's right, it's true. Yes, sand slime is way heavier. You are absolutely correct. You are 100% right about that, Christy. Once she no longer needs it, yeah, maybe. Christy, did you get your slimes that I sent you? Because I'm asking because I ended up making your clear one actually smell like the cotton candy tea, not just cotton candy. I went because you were so patient with me. I did extra for you. So I wanted to see if you smelled it and if it smelled correct to you. I hope it did. You were so patient. I thought that was the least I could do. You were a triple supplier? Oh my god, that would be amazing. Seriously, sell that. Sell that stuff, girl. Sell it. Sell it. I see some people online who make like 20 ounces a day, and I'm like, what's that like? I don't know that way. Like last night, she was up a ton, eating a bunch, so I only was able to pump like 1 ounce because she was just eating all the time. Not yet, still says it's on the table. It's just a late. What? It was shipped days ago. Are you serious, Christy? Oh my god. Okay, I'll look into that. She's definitely a growing girl, Karen. You're 100% correct. 100% correct. Yeah, their system might be glitching. There were times, especially like for Cindy, there were multiple times Cindy would order something and before it ever was even scanned, it would arrive at her house, which is insane. So as long as it shows up, that's what really matters. But I really wish that tracking would work since we pay for it. Tracking's not free. Why we pay for it if it doesn't work? Anyway, Bueller? Good morning, Samantha. My last one was labeled then in the mailbox. Like, right? Like, at least you guys know it's true. I really did mail it because you see this happen. You're like, oh, well, if she makes the label, it must be on the way. Because, like, nothing, unless it's a Sunday or a holiday, like this week, Monday was a holiday, of course. But, like, unless it's a Sunday or a holiday, if a label's made, it's going to the post office within 24 hours, maximum. So, like, what are they doing? I don't know. I don't know. Label the mailbox. Really, really, really. Or the weird Saturdays that they lock your gate. Actually, we can't even use the gate anymore. We have to go in the post office now. They locked the gate permanently, even on weekdays. So that Saturday thing isn't a thing anymore. Oh, I know it's book time, but do you have base putty in stock? Yes, I do. Currently in the doctor room. Oh, no worries, Isabella. Good luck with that. Hey, Gigi. Yeah, so we have to go in all the time now. You know what? They are, doctor's offices are so slow, Isabella. We had a baby doctor's appointment yesterday. Yeah, they claim it's more secure, but really it just takes more time. Still pre-shipment on May 22nd. Sometimes my mail doesn't get there at almost 9 p.m. Weird. Yes, Nikki, multiple people apparently. Oh. It's fine. It's not great, but it's not broccoli. Weird. No, Nikki, not at all. It's not broccoli, but it's like close to broccoli. I wonder if there's something in the coffee maker. I just descaled it, so I don't know. But yeah, Nikki, I didn't hold anything. No, I know you are, Christy. You're the most patient, but like, it's annoying, right? That we pay for, well, you know what the great thing about Hades is, Nikki? At least with Hades, I can remake it because it's not like Pain where I need a specific ingredient or Bell where I need a specific ingredient. Hades is just about putting it together, so that's fine. A couple of people had issues with Hades because apparently their post office like to drop kick their packages. Did you see Brenda's? It looked like someone stepped on hers. I'm like, what are you people doing to these jars? Can I tell you guys something about these jars? This is a true fact. I have stood, yes. Oh, I wonder if that's what it is, Amanda. Okay, that's good to know. I have literally stood on one of these jars before and it didn't break. I stood on it, okay? So what are they doing? Like if I can stand on one and it doesn't crack, how are we making it crack? I don't know. I just don't know. I feel like I should do that experiment again, make it a video and send it to USPS and be like, hey friends. Also, Hades smells exactly like I imagined it would. Good. Yeah, we've made Hades 3 times now and I've used the same scent every time. Oh, you know, they've been trampling them in those trucks. I believe it. They had to have run it over with a truck. What other explanation is there? Like, I think I weighed at least 50 pounds more than I do now when I stood on it. It's not nothing. I'm gonna do it holding the baby cement flooring easily breaks things. Yeah, but they shouldn't be throwing stuff, Roxy, come on. They drop a heavier package on it, maybe. I think it's either the cement flooring like Roxy said, or I think like Amanda said, they're literally like running it over with something. Super cold, yeah, maybe. But still, they should still be more careful with our stuff. It's not like we're not paying them. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't a free service, you know? They're being paid to get your package there. I've been in those FedEx centers and they get rough. I know. I've seen it. Sometimes when I lived in New York City, I would see, like, the delivery trucks and they're just like tossing stuff around like crazy people, you know? So, yeah. All right, well, let's read while we can because someone is still asleep. I don't want to mention any names. So, lucky us. We're going to finish the chapter from yesterday since I had to go because she had a doctor's appointment, and then obviously we're going to read the next chapter. And Ben can have more force than just standing. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. But they also need to not do it, is my final stance on it. Even a simple toss should not break stuff, other stuff for sure. Yeah, but like they throw them hard. I've seen it. They like chuck them into the trucks. Yeah. Like if I'd be less upset if it wasn't so expensive to ship stuff. You know what I'm saying? But like the fact that they keep raising the prices, but they're not being more careful. You know what I mean? Like if they were being more careful and raising the price, they'd be like, okay, well, at least I'm getting my money's worth, but I'm not. So anyway. Yes, she's extra smooshy. I know, it's because she slept poorly last night. We're in that regression. I double and triple bubble wrap this stuff, you guys. I use a bubble bag and then I put 2 mailers on top of most of them, depending on the size of the package. 2 bubble mailers on top of bubble wrap. You know, hey Naisa. So like, it's not like I'm just throwing it in a box with nothing. You know what I mean? Like I really go all out as far as packing supplies go. At least I try to. I have been also trying that like scrunchy paper, seems to work pretty well too. I've been going back and forth between bubble wrap and that depending on the size of the box. That's why. Because like bubble wrap is harder to get to fill in the crevices, you know? Yeah, no, I think you're right. I do think you're right. Okay, so let's keep going and let's get, you know, we're about, I say we're almost a third into this book. Oh, is it glitching for anybody except for Mel? If it's glitching, I'll turn off, but if it's Mel, she can go out and come back in. pink crunchy paper worked, Christy? That's good. Yeah, I reuse it too. Okay, it's good for you. Okay, it might be you, Mel. Just scan out and back in. I'll wait a second because we haven't started reading yet. So, yeah, sometimes you just need to go out and back in. And then you should be a-okay. So just while she's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and refresh everyone's memory. We're finishing chapter 9. Hey, Sonia, how are you? I mailed you a huge package yesterday. And yeah, we're going to read chapter 9. So let's see. Professor Sickle, their chaperone for the outing, ordered the mentors to leave their belongings in the van when they arrived. Coriolanus stuffed the food-filled napkin in one of his front pants pockets and kept covering it with the hem of his jacket. As they stepped from the air conditioning into the blazing sun, he saw the tributes standing in a line in handcuffs, heavily guarded by peacekeepers. The mentors were directed to take their places beside the respective tributes who'd been lined up numerically, so he was near the end with Lucy Gray. Only Jessup, his mentor, and his mentor Liz Estrada, who couldn't tip the scales at even 100 pounds, were behind him. In front of him, Clemencia's tribute, Reaper, the one who'd strangled him in the truck, stood glowering at the ground. If it came to a mentor tribute showdown, the odds were not in Coriolanus's favor. Despite her delicate appearance, Liz Estrada did have some grit. The daughter of the physician who treated President Ravenstill, she'd been lucky enough to get a mentorship, and she'd apparently been working hard to connect with Jessup. I brought you some cream for your neck, Coriolanus heard her whisper, but you must keep it hidden. Jessup made a grunt of assent. I'll put it in your pocket when I can, she said. The peacekeepers removed the heavy bars from the entrance. The massive doors swung open, revealing a huge lobby lined with boarded-up booths and fly-speckled posters advertising events from before the war. Holding their formation, the kids followed the soldiers deep within to the far side of the lobby. A bank of full-height turnstiles, each with 3 curved metal arms, stood covered in a thick layer of dust. They required a capital token for admittance, the same one still used for the price of a trolley fare. This entrance is for the poor people, Coriolanus thought, or, well, perhaps not the poor. The word plebeian came to mind. The Snow family had entered the arena at another entrance, demarcated by a velvet rope. Certainly, their box could not be assessed with a trolley token. Unlike much of the arena, it had a roof, a retractable glass window, and air conditioning that had made even the hottest days comfortable. An Avox had been assigned to them, bringing them food and drink and toys for him and Tigris. If he grew bored, he would nap on the plush, cushioned seats. Peacekeepers posted at 2 turnstiles and pumped tokens into the slots so that each tribute and mentor could pass through simultaneously. At each rotation, a cheerful voice piped, "Enjoy the show!" "Can't you override the ticket barrier?" asked Professor Sickle. "We would if we had the key, but no one seems to know where the key is," said a peacekeeper. "Enjoy the show," said a turnstile as Coriolanus passed through. He gave the arm at his waist a backwards push and realized that no exit was possible. His eyes traveled to the tops of the turnstiles, where the iron bars filled the space, to the attached doorway. He guessed the patrons of the cheap seats left the building through a passage elsewhere. While that was probably seen as a plus for the crowd dispersal, it did nothing to calm a jittery mentor on a questionable field trip. On the far side of the turnstile, a squad of peacekeepers marched into a passageway guided only by the red glow of emergency lights on the floor. On either side, smaller arches leading to different seating levels were marked. The line of tributes and mentors fell into step, flanked by tight columns of peacekeepers. As they moved into the gloom, Coriolanus took a page from Liz Estrada's book and used this opportunity to slip the napkin of food into Lucy Gray's cuffed hands. It swiftly disappeared into her ruffled pocket. There, she was not going to starve to death on his watch. Her hands found his and intertwined their fingers, sending a buzz through his body at their closeness. At this small intimacy in the dark,
He gave her hand a final squeeze and released it as they headed into the sunlight at the end of the passageway, where such a display would have been inexplicable. He'd been to the arena several times as a small boy, to see the circus mostly, but also to cheer military displays under his father's command. For the past 9 years, he'd watched at least part of the games on television, but nothing prepared him for the sensation of walking through the main gate beneath the enormous scoreboard and onto the field. Some of the mentors and the tributes gasped at the sheer size of this place and the grandeur that defied even the decay. Staring up at the towering rows of seats made him feel diminished to a point of insignificance, a raindrop in a flood, a pebble in an avalanche. The sight of the camera crews brought him back to himself, and he adjusted his face to say that nothing really impressed a snow. Lucy Gray, who seemed more alert and moved better without the weight of the chains, gave a wave to Lepidus Malmsey, but like all the reporters, he remained stony-faced and didn't engage. Their directive had been clear. Gravity and retribution were the hallmarks of the day. Satria used the term tour and suggested sightseeing as an excursion, and while he had not anticipated pleasure, he had not expected the palpable sadness of this place either. The peacekeepers who had been flanking them spread out as the kids dutifully followed the lead squad around the inside perimeter of the oval, forming a dusty, joyless parade. Coriolanus remembered the circus performers taking the same route, riding elephants, horses, bespangled and brimming with mirth. With the exception of Sejanus, probably all of his classmates would have been in that audience too. Ironically, Arcane would have been in the box just adjacent to his, dressed in sequin costume and cheering at the top of her lungs. Coriolanus surveyed the arena, looking for anything that might be an advantage for Lucy Gray. The high wall that was enclosing the field, keeping the audience above the action, had some promise. The damaged surface provided hand and footholds, offering access to the seats for a nimble climber. Several of the gates, spaced symmetrically around the wall, looked compromised as well, but he was unsure what lay beneath in the tunnels. He thought that those should be approached with caution. Too easy to get trapped in them. The stands would definitely be her best bet if she could climb up. He made mental notes for later. As the line began to stretch out, he initiated a whispered conversation with Lucy Gray. "It was awful this morning, seeing you like that." "Yeah, well, at least they fed us first," she said. "Really?" Had his conversation with Satria triggered feeding? A couple of kids blacked out when they tried to round us up last night. I think that they decided that if they want to have anyone left for the show, they're going to need to feed us. Mostly bread and cheese. We got dinner and breakfast too, but don't worry, I got plenty of room left for whatever's in my pocket. She sounded more like her old self now. "Was that you that I heard singing?" Yeah, he admitted. "They asked me to sing because they thought that Arcane and I were such great friends. Honestly, we weren't. I'm embarrassed that you heard me." "I like your voice. My daddy would have said that it had real authority, just didn't much care for the song," Lucy Gray replied. "Thanks. That means a lot coming from you," he said. She nudged him with her elbow. "I wouldn't broadcast that. Most people here think that I'm lower than a snake's belly." Coriolanus shook his head and grinned. What? She said. "You just have funny expressions. I mean, like, not funny per se, more colorful," he told her. "Well, I don't say per se much, if that's what you mean," she quipped. "No, I like it. It makes the way I talk seem so stiff. What was it that you called me that day in the zoo? Something about cake?" He remembered. "Oh, the cake with the cream? You don't say that?" she asked. "Well, it's a compliment. Where I come from, cake can be pretty dry, and cream's as scarce as hen's teeth." For a moment he laughed, forgetting where they were, how depressing the backdrop. For a moment there was just her smile, and the musical cadence of her voice, and the hint of flirtation. And then the world exploded. Oh, I tell you, Suzanne Collins sure has a way of ending chapters, right? We're going to read another chapter in a second, but how do you end a chapter with, "and then the world exploded"? What if we weren't finishing it right now? Crazy. Chapter 10. Coriolanus knew bombs, and they terrified him. Even as the impact threw him off of his feet and tossed him farther into the arena, his arms lifted to cover his head. When he hit the ground, he automatically flattened onto his belly, cheek pressed into the dust, one arm bent up to guard his exposed eye and ear. The first explosion, which seemed to have come from the main gate, initiated a chain of eruptions around the arena. Running was out of the question. It was all he could do to cling to the rumbling ground, hope for it to stop, and try to keep his panic in check. Right, Avery? I was just thinking that. He entered what he and Tigris had nicknamed bomb time, the surreal period when moments stretched and contracted in ways that seemed to defy science. During the war, the capital had assigned every citizen a shelter near their residence. The Snow's magnificent building had a basement level so sturdy and spacious that it accommodated not only the residents but half of the block. Unfortunately, the capital's surveillance system depended heavily on electricity, with the power sketchy and the grid flickering on and off like a firefly due to rebel interference in District 5. The sirens were unreliable, and they were often caught unawares, with no time to retreat to the basement. At these times, he, Tigris, and the grandmama, unless she was singing the anthem, would hide under the dining table, an impressive thing carved from a single block of marble, which sat in the interior room. Oh, yeah, I mean, how could they fit it all, right, Nikki? I mean, there's no way to fit this all into a movie. But that's what makes reading these so much fun, right? Even if you've seen the movie, it makes it great, in my opinion. Even with the absence of windows, the solid rock over his head, Coriolanus's muscles always went rigid with terror whenever he heard the whistling of bombs, and it would be hours before he felt like he could walk right. The streets weren't safe, nor the academy. You could be bombed anywhere, but usually he had a better place to shelter than this. Now, naked to the attack, lying out in the open air, he waited for the interminable bomb time to end and wondered how much damage his internal organs were incurring. No hovercraft. The realization bubbled up in his brain. There had been no hovercraft. These bombs had been what? Planted then? He could smell smoke, and some of them were probably incendiary. He pressed his daily handkerchief over his mouth and nose, squinting through the black haze thickened with dirt from the arena. He could see Lucy Gray about 15 feet away, curled up in a ball, forehead on the ground and fingertips lodged in her ears, which was the best she could do with the cuffs on. She coughed helplessly. "Cover your face. Use the napkin," he called out. She didn't look over, but she must have heard, because she rolled onto her side and retrieved it from her pocket. The biscuits and the chicken fell to the ground as she pressed the cloth to her face. He had a vague thought that it would not be conducive to her singing. A lull fooled him into thinking that the episode had ended, but just as he lifted his head, a final explosion in the stands above him demolished what had once been a snack stand. That pink spun sugar and those caramel-coated apples. The burning debris rained down on him. Something struck his head hard. The heavy weight of a beam landed diagonally across his back, pinning him to the ground. Stunned, Coriolanus lay almost senseless for a bit. The acrid smell of burning stung his nose, and he realized that the beam was on fire. He tried to pull himself together and wriggle free, but the world swam, and the peach pie turned sour in his stomach. "Help!" he cried. Similar pleas came from all around him, but he couldn't see the injured through the crowd. "Help!" The fire singed his hair, and with renewed effort he tried to struggle from under the beam to no avail. A searing pain began to eat his neck and shoulders as the horrifying realization that he was burning to death overtook him. He screamed again and again, but seemed alone in a bubble of a dark smoke cloud and a flaming rubble. And then he could make out a figure rising from the inferno. Lucy Gray said his name, and then snapped her head around. Something out of his view caught her attention. Her feet took a few steps away from him, and then she hesitated, apparently torn. "Welcome back, Isabella." "Lucy Gray," he pleaded in a ragged voice. Please." She gave a last look at whatever had tempted her and ran to his side. The beam shifted off his back, but then slammed down again. It rose a second time, leaving him just enough room to drag himself from beneath it. She helped him to his feet, and with his arms slung across her shoulders, they limped away from the flames until they collapsed somewhere in the middle of the arena. I'm going to read again in a second, but I need to... Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Isabella. I just need to turn her head. The doctor said I have to start making sure that she turns both ways more. She does sometimes, but I just need to... No, you gotta stay this way, honey. You gotta stay this way. You can't always look in one direction, baby girl. Okay. At first, coughing and gagging required all of his attention, but he slowly registered the pain in his head, the burns along his neck, his back, his shoulders. Somehow his fingers were knotted in Lucy Gray's scorched skirt, as if it were his lifeline. Her cuffed hands, visibly burned, curled nearby. The smoke settled enough that he could see the pattern that the bombs had been planted in at intervals all around the arena. With the mother lode of explosives placed at the entrance, so great was the damage there that he caught a glimpse of the street beyond two forms fleeing in the arena. Was that what had given Lucy Gray pause before she came to his aid? The possibility of escape? Other tributes surely had availed themselves of the opportunity. Yes, he heard the sirens now, the shouts from the street. Medics picked their way through the rubble and ran for the wounded. It's okay, he told Lucy Gray. Help is here. Hands reached for him, settled onto a stretcher. He released her ruffles, thinking that there would be another stretcher for her. But as they carried him off, he could see a peacekeeper force her to her stomach and jam the barrel of a gun into her neck, yelling a string of profanities at her. Lucy Gray, Coriolanus cried out, but no one paid attention to him. The blows to his head made concentration hard, but he was aware of the ambulance ride, banging through the doors to the same waiting area where he drunk his fizzy lemon soda just a day before, and then, being moved onto a table under the bright white light, a team of doctors tried to assess the damage. He wanted to sleep, but they kept pushing their faces into his and demanding answers. Their stale lunch breath was making him queasy again. Into machines, out of machines, needles jabbing him, and finally, blissfully, he was being allowed to drift off. Periodically throughout the night, someone would wake him, shine lights into his eyes, and as long as he could answer a few basic questions, they would allow him to fall back into oblivion. When he finally really woke, on Sunday, the light through the window said afternoon, and the grandmama and tigress were laying over him with worried looks. He felt a warm reassurance. I'm not alone, he thought. I'm not in the arena. I am safe. Hi, Corio, said Tigress. It's us. Hello, he attempted a smile. You missed bomb time. Turns out it's worse being there, said Tigress. Knowing what you were going through all alone? I wasn't alone, he said. The morphling and the concussion made it hard for him to recall things clearly. Lucy Gray was there. She saved my life, I think. He couldn't quite get his mind around the idea. It was sweet, but unsettling too. Tigress gave his hand a squeeze. I'm not surprised. She's obviously a good person. Right from the beginning, she tried to protect you from those other tributes. The grandmama needed more convincing, though. After he'd patched together a timeline of the bombing for her, she came to this conclusion. Well, like as not she decided the peacekeepers would gun her down if she ran, but still, it does show some character. Perhaps, as she claims, she's not really district. High praise indeed, or as high as the grandmama would likely muster. As Tigress filled him in on the details that he had missed, he realized how on the edge this event had made the capital. What had happened, at least what the Capital News claimed had happened, was that frightened citizens with both... What had happened, at least what the Capital News claimed happened, frightened citizens with both its immediate fallout and the ramifications for the future. They didn't know who set the bombs. Rebels? Sure. But from where? They could be from any of the 12 districts or a ragtag bunch that had escaped from District 13 or even, fate forbid, some long dormant cell in the capital itself. The timeline for the crime was baffling, since the arena stood empty, locked, and ignored between the Hunger Games. The bombs could have been placed 6 days or 6 months before. Security cameras covered the entrances around the oval, but the crumbling exterior made scaling the structure possible. They didn't even know if the bombs had been triggered remotely or by a false step, but the unexpected losses shook the capital to its core. 2 of the tributes from District 6 had been killed by shrapnel, but that caused little concern. The same explosion had taken the lives of the Ring twins. 3 mentors had been hospitalized, Coriolanus and Andronicus Anderson and Gaius Breen, who had been assigned the District 9 tributes. His classmates were in critical condition, Gaius having lost both of his legs, and almost everyone else, whether mentor, tribute, or peacekeeper, had needed medical attention of some sort. Coriolanus felt bewildered. Do you need me to stand up? Do you need mommy to stand up so you can stay asleep? We can stay asleep, that's okay. You can sleep. You can sleep. You don't have to wake up. No. You don't have to wake up, my angel. We can stay asleep. It's okay. You can stay asleep. Yeah. Mommy will stand up. Mommy does not mind standing up if it means you will sleep. Yeah. Yeah, you can stay asleep. Shh, 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 shh. You're okay. Let's see. Gaius, having lost both his legs, and almost everyone else, whether mentor, tribute, or peacekeeper, had needed medical care of some sort. Coriolanus felt bewildered. He genuinely liked Polo and Didi, and how they doted on each other, how upbeat they had been. Somewhere nearby, Andronicus, who aspired to be a reporter at Capital News like his mother, and Gaius, a Citadel brat with an endless supply of terrible jokes, were barely hanging on to life. What about Lysistrata? Is she all right? She'd been with him, behind him. The grandmama looked uncomfortable. Oh, her. She's fine. She's going around saying that big ugly boy from District 12 protected her by throwing his body over her, but who knows? The Vickers family do love the spotlight. Do they? Asked Coriolanus skeptically. He could not recall ever once seeing the Vickers in the Vickers in the spotlight, except for a brief annual news conference in which they gave President Ravenstill a clean bill of health. Lysistrata was a self-contained, efficient person who never drew attention to herself. To even suggest that she could be put in the same class as Arcane rubbed him the wrong way. She only made one quick statement to a reporter right after the bombing. I do expect it was the truth, Grandmama, said Tigress. Perhaps the people of District 12 are not quite so bad as you paint them. Both Jessup and Lucy Gray have behaved bravely. Have you seen Lucy Gray? On the television, I mean. Does she look all right? He asked. I don't know, Corio. They haven't shown any footage of the zoo, but she's not on the list of dead tributes, said Tigress. Are there more than the ones from District 6? Coriolanus didn't want to sound morbid, but they were Lucy Gray's competition. Yeah, some of the others died after the bombing, Tigress told him. Both pairs from District 1 and District 2 had made for the hole blown open near the entrance. The District 1 kids had been shot dead, and the girl from District 2 made it to the river and leapt over the wall, only to die in the fall. Marcus had disappeared completely, leaving a desperate, dangerous, and powerful boy loose somewhere in the city. A displaced manhole cover suggested that he might have climbed underground to the transfer, the network of tracks and roadways built under the capital, but no one knew for sure. I suppose they see the arena as a symbol, said the grandmama, just as they did during the war. The worst part is that it took almost 20 seconds before they cut the transmission to the districts, so no doubt it was a cause for celebration. Beasts that they are. But they hardly said anyone in the district saw it, Grandmama, Tigress countered. The people there don't like to watch the Hunger Games coverage. It will only take a handful to get the word out, said the Grandmama. It's that kind of story that catches fire. Ooh. That's a nice callback line. I'm sorry to stop, but that is too good. Chef's kiss. That is, I love that kind of writing. The doctor who'd talked to Coriolanus after the snake attack entered, introducing himself as Dr. Wayne. He sent Tigress and the grandmama home and gave Coriolanus a quick checkup, explaining the nature of the concussion, fairly mild, and the burns, which were responding well to treatment. It would take some time to heal completely, but if he behaved himself and continued to improve, he would be released in a couple of days. "Do you know how my tribute is doing? Her hands were burned rather badly," said Coriolanus. Each time he thought of her, he felt a stab of uneasiness, but then the morphling would wrap around him like cotton wool. "I wouldn't know," said the doctor, "but they've got a top-notch veterinarian over there. I expect she'll be fine by the time they've got the games up and running. But that's not your concern, young man. Your concern is to get well, and for that you do need some sleep." Coriolanus was happy to oblige, and he slipped back into sleep and didn't fully come to until Monday morning. With his aching head and his battered body, he felt in no rush to leave the hospital. The air conditioning eased the burns on his skin, and a generous portion of bland food appeared regularly. He caught up on the news on the large television screen while he sipped as much fizzy lemon drink as he could hold. A double funeral was to be held for the Ring twins the following day. The manhunt for Marcus continued. Both the capital and the districts were under heightened security. 3 mentors dead, 3 hospitalized, well, really 4 if you counted Clemencia, 6 tributes dead, 1 escaped, several wounded. If Dr. Gall wanted a makeover for the Hunger Games, she certainly had gotten it. In the afternoon, a parade of visitors began with Festus sporting a sling on his arm with a few stitches where a shard of metal had sliced his cheek. He said that the academy had canceled classes, but the students were supposed to show up the next morning for the Ring's funeral. He choked up at the mention of the twins, and Coriolanus wondered if he would have a more emotional response himself once they removed the morphling drip, which muted both pain and joy. Satria popped in with some baked cookies, relayed the well wishes of the faculty, and told him that while the incident was unfortunate, it could only improve his chances for a prize. After a bit, an uninjured Sejanus appeared with Coriolanus's book bag from the van and a stack of his mother's delicious meatloaf sandwiches. He had little to say on the subject of the runaway tribute. Finally, Tigress came without the grandmama, who remained home to rest, but had sent a clean uniform for him to wear upon discharge. If there were cameras, she wanted him to look his best. They split the sandwiches, and Tigress stroked his aching head until he dozed off, just as she had when headaches plagued him as a child. When someone awakened him in the wee hours of Tuesday, he supposed that a nurse had come to check on his vital signs, but he startled at the sight of Clemencia's rage above his face. The snake venom, or the antidote perhaps, had left her golden brown skin peeling, and the whites of her eyes were the colors of egg yolks. But much worse was the twitching that affected her entire body, causing her face to grimace, her tongue to jut out periodically from her mouth, and her hands to jerk away even as they reached for his body. "Shh," she hissed. "I shouldn't be here. Don't tell them I came. But what are they saying? Why has no one come to see me? Do my parents know what happened, or do they think I'm dead?" Groggy from sleep and medication, Coriolanus couldn't quite wrap his mind around what she was saying. Your parents? But they have been here. I saw them." No one has come to see me," she cried. "I have to get out of here, Corio. I'm afraid that she's going to kill me. It's not safe. We are not safe." "What? Who's going to kill you? You're talking nonsense," he said. "Dr. Gall, of course." She clutched his arm, awakening his burns. "You know, you were there." Coriolanus tried to free her fingers to go. "You got to go back to your room. You're sick, Clemmy. It's the snake bites. They're making you imagine things." "Did I imagine this?" She ripped back the opening of her hospital gown to reveal a patch of skin that extended over her chest and down one shoulder. Mottled with bright blue, pink, and yellow scales, it had a reptilian quality of the snakes in the tank. When he gasped, she shrieked, "And it's spreading, Corio. It's spreading." 2 of the hospital staff then had her, lifting her up and carrying her from the room. He lay awake the rest of the night thinking of the snakes and her skin and the glass cases of Avoxes with their gruesome animal modifications in Dr. Gall's lab. Is that where Clemencia is headed? And if not, why hadn't her parents seen her? Why had no one except him seen what had happened? If Clemencia died, would he disappear as well as the only witness? Had he put Tigress at risk by telling her this story? The pleasant cocoon of the hospital now seemed an insidious trap shrinking to suffocate him. No one checked on him as the hours crept by, which just added to his distress. Finally, as dawn was breaking, Dr. Wayne appeared by his bedside. Aunt Clemencia visited you last night, he said cheerfully. Did she give you a scare? Yeah, a bit. Coriolanus tried to appear nonchalant. She'll be all right. The venom causes a lot of unusual side effects as it works its way out of your system. That's why we haven't let her parents see her. They think she's quarantined with a highly contagious flu. She'll be presentable in a day or two, the doctor told him. You can go visit her if you're up to it. It might cheer her up. Yeah, all right, Coriolanus slightly reassured. But he could not unsee what he had seen, not at the hospital and not in the lab. The removal of the morphling drip brought all the fuzzy edges into sharp relief. His suspicions tainted every comfort from the large breakfast of hotcakes and bacon to the basket of fresh fruit and sweets from the academy, to the news that his performance of the anthem would be replayed for the Ring's funeral as both a mark of its quality and a nod to his own sacrifices. The pre-funeral coverage started at 7, and by 9 the student body filled the stairs in the front of the academy. Just over a week ago, he'd felt that he was falling into insignificance with his District 12 girl assignment, and now he was being honored for his courage in front of the entire nation. He expected them to show a tape of him singing, but instead, his holographic self appeared behind the podium, and while it was a little watery at first, it settled into a clean, crisp image. You okay, baby? Want to turn your head this way for me? Yeah. You want to look at Mommy? Look this way. Hi. Hi. People were always saying that he resembled his handsome father more every day, but for the first time he could now really see it. Not just the eyes, but the jawline, the hair, the proud carriage. And Lucy Gray was right. His voice did have real authority. Overall, the performance was quite impressive. The Capitol doubled the efforts to make Arcane's funeral, which Coriolanus felt appropriate for the twins. More speeches, more peacekeepers, more banners. He didn't mind seeing the twins praised, even extravagantly, and wished that somehow they could have known that his hologram had opened the event. The dead tribute count had escalated, with the tributes from District 9 having died from their injuries. Apparently, the veterinarian had done her best, but her repeated requests to admit them to the hospital had been refused. Their scarred bodies, along with what remained of District 6 tributes, were draped over the backs of horses and paraded down Scholars Road. 2 tributes from District 1 and the girl from District 2, as befitting their cowardly escape, were dragged behind the horses. Yikes. That does not sound good. Then came a pair of those caged trucks that Coriolanus had ridden in on his way to the zoo. One for the boys, one for the girls, and he strained to see Lucy Gray, but he couldn't locate her, which only added to his worries. Was she lying inert on the floor, overcome by injuries and hunger? As the twins' matching silver coffins came into focus, all he could think of was the silly game that he'd made up playing on the playground that called Ring Around the Rings. The rest of the kids would chase Dee Dee and Polo and then grab hands, forming a circle around them, trapping them. Hi. Hi, sweetheart. It always ended with the lot of them, the rings included, laughing their heads off in a heap on the ground. Oh, to be 7 years old again, in a happy pile with his friends, nutritional crackers waiting at his desk. After lunch, Dr. Wayne said that he could be released if he promised to stay calm and get bed rest. As the charm of the hospital diminished, he changed into his clean uniform at once. All right, do you want to go in your bouncy? I like how you keep switching the side she's laying on like this. Right? Yeah, she's like, I'm going back to my good side. I know, she loves it, but we have to do it. We have to do it. Okay, you want to go in your bouncy for a little bit? Yeah, since you're awake, you want to bouncy, bouncy, bouncy? Yeah, hold on. Ooh, ooh. Ooh. Okay, 1, 2. Oh, your foot is stuck in the ring. There you go. Okay. Whee! Whee! Bravo. Okay. Hi, sweetheart. Okay, here is your drool cloth. Let's put it under your chins. Can you lift up your chins for mommy? There you go. So many good chins. Okay, and here's your chewy. Yeah, there you go. See? That's so nice, right? That's so nice. It's common for them to have a favorite side. Yeah, exactly. They just said to try, you know. She's been favoring it a little more. Her head is perfectly shaped, so that's not an issue, but, you know, they did say to give it the good old college try, if you will. I love how it's like an actress is pregnant, but the characters, so they hide it, right? Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what they do. They hide it. They hide it. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going, right, sweet girl? Handmaids, oof, brutal. Tigress collected him and accompanied him home on the trolley, but then had to return to work. Both he and the grandmama spent the afternoon napping, and he awoke to a nice casserole that Sejanus's ma had sent over. At Tigress's urging, he went to bed with the sun, but sleep eluded him, and every time he closed his eyes, he would see the flames all around, feeling the trembling of the earth. He would smell the black, choking smoke. Lucy Gray had been nibbling around the edges of his thoughts, but now he could think of no one else. How was she, healing and fed, or suffering and starving in that awful monkey house? While he had been lying in the air-conditioned hospital with his morphling drip, had the veterinarian attended to her hands? Had the smoke damaged that remarkable voice of hers? In helping him, had she ruined her chances for sponsors in the arena? He felt some embarrassment when he thought of his terror under the beam, but even more so when he remembered what followed. On Capitol TV, the coverage that they'd shown of the bombings had been obscured by the smoke. But did it exist? Footage of her rescuing him, and much worse, of him clinging to her ruffled skirt, waiting for someone to come to help? His hands had fumbled in the drawers of his nightstand and found his mother's compact. As he inhaled the rose-scented powder, his thoughts quieted a bit, but restlessness drove him from his bed. For the next few hours, he wandered the apartment, looking out at the night sky and down at the Corso into the neighbors' windows across the way. At some point, he found himself up on the roof amid the grandmama's roses and didn't remember having climbed the stairs to the garden. The fresh night air was perfumed by the flowers, and it helped, but soon it brought on a bout of shivering that made everything hurt again. Tigress found him sitting in the kitchen a few hours before dawn. She made tea, and they ate the remainder of the casserole straight from the pan. The savory layers of meat, potato, and cheese consoled him, as did Tigress's gentle reminder of the situation with Lucy Gray, and that it was not of his making. They were both, after all, still children whose lives were dictated by the powers above them. Somewhat comforted, he managed to doze off for a few hours before a phone call from Satria woke him up. She encouraged him to attend school that morning if he could manage. Another mentor tribute meeting had been scheduled with the idea of working toward the interviews, which would now be completely on a voluntary basis. Later at the academy, as he looked down from the balcony into Heavensby Hall, the empty chairs rattled him. He knew in his head that 8 tributes had died and 1 was missing, but he had not envisioned how that would ripple through the pattern of the 24 little tables, leaving a jagged, disconcerting mess. No tributes at all from District 1, 2, 6, or 9, and only 1 from District 10. Most of the kids who remained were injured, and they all looked unwell. As the mentors joined their assignees, the losses became even more pronounced. 6 mentors were either dead or hospitalized, and those partnered with the escapees of District 1 and 2 had no tributes at their table and therefore no reason to show up. Livia Cardew had been vocal about this turn of events, demanding new tributes be brought in from the districts, or at least that she be given Reaper, the boy assigned to Clemencia, who everyone thought had been hospitalized with the flu. Her wishes had not been accommodated, and Reaper sat alone at his table, a bandage stained with rust-dried blood wrapped around his head. Yeah. As Coriolanus took the seat opposite her, Lucy Gray didn't even attempt a smile. A ragged cough racked her chest, and soot from the fire still clung to her clothing. The veterinarian had exceeded Coriolanus's expectations, though, and the skin on her hands was healing nicely. "Hi," he said, scooting a nut butter sandwich and 2 of Satria's cookies across the table. "Hi, I missed most of book club. My mail truck broke." "No! Christina, are you okay?" That does not sound good. That does not sound good at all. Did they send someone to come get you? They have to, right? I mean, right? My God. That sounds scary. Oof. Oof, oof. Hey, she said hoarsely. Any attempt at flirtation or even camaraderie had been totally abandoned on her part. She patted the sandwich and seemed too tired to eat it. Thanks. No, thank you for saving my life, he said. He said it lightly, but as he gazed into her eyes, the levity leached away. Is that what you're telling people? She asked, that I saved your life? He had said as much to Tigress and the grandmama, and then, perhaps unsure what to do with the information, he let it drift from his thoughts like a dream. Now, with the empty seats of the fallen around him, the memory of how she'd rescued him in the arena demanded his attention, and he could not ignore its significance. I agree, Christina. It shouldn't be right. They should get better things for you guys. They always look janky. If Lucy Gray had not helped him, he would be utterly and irrevocably dead. Another shiny coffin just dripping with flowers, another empty chair, and when he spoke again, the words caught in his throat before he forced them out. I told my family, really, but thank you, Lucy Gray. Well, I had some time on my hands, she said, tracing the frosted flower on a cookie with a shaky forefinger. Pretty cookies you have here. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're okay. I mean, it is scary, though. Anytime a car breaks down, it's freaking scary. And then came the confusion. If she had saved his life, he owed her. But what, a sandwich and 2 cookies? That was how he was repaying her? For his life? Which apparently he held quite cheaply. The truth was he owed her everything. He felt the blush burn over his cheeks. You could have run, and if you had, I would have gone up in flames before they even reached me. Run, huh? Seemed like a lot of effort just to get shot, she said, and Coriolanus shook his head. You can joke, but it won't change what you did for me. I hope I can repay you in some way. Oh yeah, I hope so too, she said, and in those few words he sensed a shift in their dynamic. As her mentor, he'd be the gracious giver of gifts, always met with gratitude. But now she'd upended things by giving him a gift beyond compare. On the surface, everything looked the same. Chained girl, boy offering food, peacekeepers guarding the status quo. But deep down, things could never be the same between them. He would always be in her debt, and she had the right to demand things now. I don't know how I'll repay you, he admitted, and Lucy Gray glanced around the room, taking in her wounded competitors, and then she looked him in the eye, and impatience tinged her voice. Well, you could start by thinking I could actually win this thing. That's the end of part 1. I mean, she's right to ask for that. Yeah, that would be scary. If you were in like a really hot or a really cold place. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. So tomorrow we start part 2, which is chapter 11. How many chapters do we have? It goes to chapter... Oh my goodness, come on. It goes to chapter 30 and an epilogue. Oh, that's okay, Isabella. You never have to apologize. Don't ever feel the need to apologize for any of that stuff. It's not, I know, I would die without AC too. UPS fought for air conditioning. I mean, they shouldn't have to, but I'm glad they did. So we basically have 20 more chapters to go. So this is what I'm gonna do, you guys. Not only are we gonna read it all the way up until we leave town, of course, but I'm gonna bring this book with me on the trip because book club, my brother-in-law had to do an entire mail route without brakes on his, that's not safe, Tiffany. That is not safe. Yeah, and you're federal, Christina, ridiculous. We were actually just talking about this before you got on. So I'm gonna bring the book with me, and if there are any days that I think I can get on, because I'll be on the East Coast, it'll be 11:30 instead of 8:30 because I'll be over there. I'll post ahead of time and we'll be able to read chapters while I'm there, which I think will be great. So I don't know which days those will be, but like maybe Monday and Tuesday, you know what I mean? And then maybe we'll do something different in the afternoons the other days. Like I'll bring something with like something short, some short stories that we can read the other days or something like that. If I'm not able to get along at that time. So hopefully we'll still be able to finish it, you know, in a timely manner so we don't get too too behind or forget too much. You know, that's why I want to bring it with me so we don't like forget, you know, if that makes sense. So, oh good, I was not looking forward to no, yeah, me either. I can't, like, I was thinking that we were going to go that much time, and then Secret Husband, knowing how much book club means to me, was like, we can make time for book club. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm going to try to do, oh, we will. We'll definitely have fun. But missing book club is hard for me emotionally, you know, like I just like whatever. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to have the same time on the days that I can. And like I said, I'll post ahead about that. Like if I know I'll be able to get on at 11:30, I'll post about it by like 10 a.m. or something like that. Oh, a new Chris Coffer book at Goodwill. What's the book? Yeah, Secret Husband is a literally like running green flag. I wanted to say walking green flag, but he like runs through it. So I'll try to do that. And that'll be good. And tonight I'm gonna try to get on for slime. So we have a group Roll for Slime Pluffle edition that I still need to do, and I was gonna do a video on it, but I was thinking that maybe if I have time tonight, I'll do it on live, and then it'll still be posted for them to see. Yeah, being a good partner is huge, obviously. So if I'm able to get on tonight, we'll do the Pluffle group Roll for Slime, which would be kind of cool. Group 3, which I posted about. Didn't Chris Coffer come out with a new book? He did? If he did, I didn't know, but I'd love to read it. I don't know, Isabella. Hopefully, yeah, that would be my goal. It's just going to depend on Secret Husband's schedule. If he can take her at 5 o'clock, I will do that at 5. Oh, you're totally fine, Roxy. Don't even worry. That's why I stopped for even last couple minutes. Yeah, definitely, to like try to... Yeah, missing book club is always heartbreaking, like for all of us who thrive on the community aspect of it. Have fun at Target. I had an idea for Roll for Slime thing. Tell it to me. I'm here. Is there a timeline-ish on the new book? I've missed the whole series. I've been waiting. So we have one more book after this one where we were just talking about that, Sophia. But I'm going to be away for a couple of days. So if you want to use the YouTubes as like body doubles while I'm gone, you might catch up before the new book. It's possible. Your package is in the UK finally? Oh my gosh. Freaking took forever. They take so long with those international packages. I know, sweetheart. Oh no, I meant targeting for 5 p.m. Oh, no worries. Yeah, only because I'm going away you'll have time, right, Sophia? Yeah, pick up a few boxes of Disney mystery pins and that would be fun. Oh my gosh, that would be such a cute idea. What a great idea, Jen. Will you message me that so I don't forget, because you know that I have a brain that things go in one ear and out the other, but that's a great idea. Create a slime based on it. Yes, I'm all in. With blind Roll for Slime. I love it. I love it so much. Oh my gosh. How long do we wait for those packages to appear? The ones where they haven't scanned them? What day did yours ship, Nikki? Let's base it on that, because Monday was a holiday, so I'm giving them one extra day of grace just because they're behind probably from Monday. Really? You want to tell us more about that? Hi, my beautiful angel. Mine takes 3 days and I'm up 2 states. That's not even much. May 22nd, and that's kind of long. Gosh. That's a bit of time though. I think so, Amanda. This is a great idea, Jen. I'm obsessed with this idea. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to get any blind stuff while I'm at Disney, and then we'll just give each one a number and we'll roll for it. Yeah, exactly. It'll be Disney Roll for Slime night. I love it. This is a genius idea. My magical charms. Okay, we need to figure that out. I don't understand that at all. I'm gonna contact them if they. You know what you can do? So, yeah, you want to tell them more tips? I was gonna say, Nikki, sometimes you don't even have to contact them. Sometimes if you just turn on text updates, it'll like trigger them to do something. Roswell Saves the Galaxy. Oh, that one. That's right. We haven't read that one yet. They hear you, sweetheart. They hear everything you have to say. We are all listening. We are all listening. She's doing well today. Tell us more. Uh-huh. She wants to tell you a story. Go ahead. They're listening. Oh, some toots? You had to get out some toots? Yeah, text updates do help sometimes. It's true. Do you want to tell us something else? Do you want to sing a song? Very nice. That was a beautiful song, honey. Do you want to sing the Itsy Bitsy Spider? The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Go ahead, your turn. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Your turn. Very good. Up came the sun and dried up all the rain. Your turn. You sick of this song? Jeez. Rough room. You're welcome, Sophie. You're welcome. Oh, I heard that. You want to get the rest of that out and then we can go change that? She is. She's a star. She's going to be the star. You know, I can hear all that coming along. Her Goes on a Roll is so good. I'm trying to make a new batch of that, but it's been hard to get the clay. I know, right? She was like, meh. Do you need a diaper change? Do you want to finish whatever's going on in there? I can hear it continuing. Yeah. Finish it up and then we'll go change it right away. Yeah. Okay. They said that all of them, I'm gonna lie to her, I'm gonna gaslight her really quickly. They said everyone in the room right now said that you gave them baby fever even if they don't want to have a baby. Even if they're childless by choice, you gave them baby fever. Just pretend. Pretend. They said it's true. It's true. All of them. All of them. You. Even if they're done having all their kids, you give them baby fever with your cute voice. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Jen said baby fever for someone near her to have one so that she can hold it. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Do you have anything else you want to say before we go change your diaper? Really? Okay. And what else? That's it? Are you done now so we can go? Let me know when you're done so we can change that diaper. Right? She's like, goodbye. I always change her diaper right away, but I try not to go to change it in the middle of something happening because I've done that before. And let me tell you how unfun that is. My youngest is 7 and I'm a grandma and I still get baby. Yes. Well, you know. Yeah. Yeah. You get to wear Caddy's wraps, huh? Yeah. We've been trying all the different wraps because I've been trying to like use everything so that I get used to all the different feelings. But yesterday, because she had shots, we went back to our comfort wrap, the blue one. The blue and gray one is our comfort wrap because it's the most comforting to her. I think it smells the most like us because we use it the most. Okay, should we go change our diaper? Yeah, okay, she said yeah. We should go change our diaper. I hate when that happens. Okay, Jen, please send me that so that I write that down. After I'm done changing her diaper, I'm going to write down your idea because that's a genius idea. I love that idea for the blind boxes. Oh, she's definitely talking to us, Caitlin, 100%. I will see you all later today, hopefully, for the pluffle. Okay, bye, guys. Oops, what just happened? What is happening? What is happening?